third patriarch. Head of the Great Assembly, for numberless kalpas he planted the seeds of nirvana, he always stays near the Buddha, he is the keeper of the baskets of the Dharma. How is it that this venerable one, who with sharp faculties, has been able to come so far without having eliminated desire and is not yet asaiksa? Answer. 1. The Venerable Ananda, from the beginning, had made the following vow. I wish to be the foremost of those who have heard much. On the other hand, because of their Buddha dharmas, the arhats who have done what needed to be done can no longer serve or venerate anyone. Having accomplished the grand business, in the Buddha dharma, namely the destruction of the afflictions, they remain seated with the Buddha on the palanquin of deliverance. 2. Furthermore, the Sauthavira Ananda, who has listened, retained and meditated on all kinds of sutras, has vast wisdom, whereas his concentration of mind is average. Yet both of these qualities are necessary to obtain the state of arhat, which consists of destruction of the impurities. This is why the Sauthavira Ananda is still just a stream enterer. 3. Furthermore, out of love for the Buddha's service, Ananda was his servant, and he said to himself, if I should attain the state that involves the destruction of the impurities too soon, I would distance myself from the Buddha and I could no longer be his servant. This is why Ananda, who could have been an arhat, had decided not to take up this state. 4. Furthermore, the conditions of place, time and individuals not having come together, where and how could he have compiled the Dharma? The 1,000 arhats who must constitute the council were not on the Grudrakuta Parvata. The place fixed for the council, the time of the Bhagavat's death had not yet come, the Sauthavira Po Ktsu was not present. This is why the Sauthavira Ananda does not destroy his impurities. In order that Ananda be able to destroy them and thus participate in the council, 3 conditions were necessary. The Bhagavat must die, the assembly that is to be entrusted with compiling the Dharma must be assembled, and Vyajaputra must address to Ananda the official exhortations. 5. Finally, the Venerable Ananda is in no way comparable to other men in his disgust for the things of the world. From birth to birth, Ananda is of royal lineage, his beauty is incomparable and his merits are immense. A close relative of the Bhagavat, he always accompanied the Buddha as servant. Inevitably he said to himself, I am the Buddha's servant, I know the precious baskets of Dharma. I am not afraid to let go of the destruction of the impurities when the time comes. With this motivation, he was not in a hurry to become an arhat. Origin of the name Ananda. Question. What is the origin of the Venerable Ananda's name? Is it of ancient origin? Is it a name given to him by his parents? Does it rest on good reasons? Answer. This name is of ancient origin, it was also given to him by his parents and it rests on good reasons. 1. Why is this name of ancient origin? A. In one of his earlier lives, the present Buddha Che Kia Wen was a potter called Ta Kuang Ming. At that time, there was a Buddha called Sakyamuni. His disciples were called Cho Li Fu, Mu Ken Lian and Anan. The Buddha and his disciples went to the house of the potter to spend the night. On that occasion, the potter gave 3 things. A seat made of straw, a lamp and honey syrup, and he made a gift of them to the Buddha and the community of monks. Then he made the following vow. Later, after 5 unfortunate generations of old age, sickness and death, I will be Buddha. I will be called Sakyamuni like the present Buddha and my disciples will bear the names of the present disciples of the Buddha. By virtue of this vow of the Buddha, our hero is named Ananda. B. Furthermore, from birth to birth, Ananda had made the following vow. Among the disciples of the Buddha, I will be the foremost of those who have heard much by the name Ananda. Single quote. C. Finally, from birth to birth, by the virtue of patience, Ananda had expelled all hatred. This is why he was always reborn very beautiful. Because of this beauty which made all who saw him rejoice, his parents named him Ananda, which, in the language of the scene, means joy. This was his name according to the old traditions. 2. Why did his parents give him the name Ananda? Once there was a king of the Solar clan named Tseu Kia. This king had 4 sons. 1. Ching Fan, 2. Po Fan, 3. Hao Fan, 4. Kan Lu Wei. King Suddhodana had 2 sons. 1. Pho, the Buddha, 2. Nanto, Nanda. See King Suklodana had 2 sons. 1. Po Ti, 2. Yi Cha. King Dronodana had 2 sons. 1. Ti Po Tatu, 2. Anan. King Amrita Dana had 2 sons. 1. Mo Honan, 2. Ani Lu Tieu. As for his daughter, Amrita Rasa, she had a son called Che Po Lo Dhanapala. Then the Bodhisattva Siddhartha, Siddhartha, grew up, renouncing the state of Kakvatan king. He went forth from home in the middle of the night and went to the country of Ngeo Leo Pai Lo Uravilva, on the banks of the river Ni Lian Chan, where he practiced asceticism for 6 years. But King Suddhodana, who loved his son, regularly sent messengers to ask about him and bring back news of him. Has my son attained the path? Is he sick? Is he dead? The messenger came back to tell the king. The bodhisattva is nothing but skin, bones and sinews to hold it all together. He is very weak. Today or tomorrow will be the end of him. The king experienced great sadness at these words. He plunged into the ocean of grief. My son has renounced becoming a Chakravartin king, and now he will not succeed in becoming Buddha. Is he then going to die without attaining anything? The king grieved greatly. But the bodhisattva, renouncing asceticism, partook of the milk soup of 100 flavors, and his body recovered its strength. Having bathed in the waters of the Niranjana river, he went to the Bodhi tree, sat down on the diamond seat and proclaimed the following oath. I will remain seated with crossed legs until I realize omniscience. Until I have attained omniscience, I will not rise from this seat. Single quote. Then King Mara, at the head of a troop of 18 kotis of warriors, came to the bodhisattva and tried to bring about his ruin. But by the power of his wisdom, the bodhisattva destroyed Mara's army. Mara retired, vanquished, and said to himself, since the bodhisattva is invincible, I will torment his father. He went to King Suddhodana and said to him slyly, your son died today in the second part of the night. At these words, the king was stunned and collapsed on his bed like a fish on hot sand. Weeping miserably, he uttered this stanza. Ajita lied in his predictions. The good omens are no longer verified. My son had the propitious name Siddhartha, but none of these goals has been realized. Then the deity of the Bodhi tree, Ta Huan Hai by name, came to King Suddhodana holding a celestial flower, and said the following stanza to him. Your son has attained the path. He has scattered the army of Mara. His brilliance is like the rising sun, he lights up the 10 directions. The king replied, first a god came to tell me that my son was dead, and now you come to tell me that he has conquered Mara and attained the path. These 2 pieces of news are contradictory. Whom should I believe? Single quote. The deity of the tree answered, this is the truth, it is not a lie. The god who previously came to tell you the lie that your son was dead was Mara, full of jealousy. He came to make you grieve. Today all the devas and nagas offer your son flowers and perfumes, they are hanging silk cloths from the sky. Your son's body emits a brilliant light that fills heaven and earth. Single quote. At these words, the king was freed from all his sadness and said, Although my son may have renounced becoming a Chakravartin king, today he has become the king who will turn the wheel of the Dharma. He has surely attained great benefit and lost nothing. The king's mind experienced great joy. At that moment a messenger arrived from the palace of King Dronodana to say to King Suddhodana, "Your noble brother has had a son." The king's mind felt great joy. He said, "This day is highly propitious, it is a day of joy." Addressing the messenger, he said, "This child should be called Ananda." Single quote. That is why his parents called him Ananda. 3. How does this name rest on good reasons? Ananda was handsome and graceful like a clear mirror. His body was pure. When women saw him, their passions were aroused. This is why the Buddha ordered Ananda to wear a covering over his shoulders. As he gladdened the mind and the eyes of all who saw him, he was called Ananda, great joy. On this subject, the tsao louen tchö says, "His face is like the full moon. His eye like a blue lotus flower." The water of the ocean of the Buddha's Dharma flows in the mind of Ananda. He brings forth great joy in the minds and to the eyes of those who see him. Those who come to see the Buddha, he introduces without any flaw in ceremonial. Thus, although Ananda could have attained the state of arhat, he did not destroy the impurities in order to continue to serve and honor the Buddha. Because of these great qualities, and although he himself was not asaiksa, he dwelt among the asaiksas. Although he had not eliminated desire, he resided among those who had eliminated it. Also, since among the 5,000 members of the assembly, he was not really an arhat, the text says that all were arhats except for Ananda. End chapter 6.